All right, so I know ICT dropped a 2025 mentorship video, so um, I'll watch that later and then take my notes on it. But here is Asia session. I'm gonna be just doing a volatility pinball drill. Now, ICT has a video on it. It's like a 2 hour, 3 hour video on it. Long story short, with ICT, basically you just want to go to a paper trading account and literally just take a ton of setups. Um, for example, a setup that would have been taken would have been this fair value gap here, entry there, exit somewhere here. You could take this volume imbalance here as a setup. You could take this volume imbalance here as a setup, um, and so on and so forth. You just want to take a ton of setups, get the feeling of putting on a limit order, excuse me, taking it off, putting on a stop loss, taking it off, that sort of thing. You just want to get all of that calibrated, um, and really just in sync. So looking here, I know that we're inside of a current new day opening gap. Looks like we're failing to tap into this consequent encroachment up here. So what I'll be waiting for is to see if we get a break below this order block here. So we break below and we disrespect this order block. I'll look at that as a breaker, and then take the setup short. Now there is a small fair value gap in here. I don't want to take a long because we are pretty, deep in premium, given the Asia range. And with Asia, if you guys looked at the video um, going over my Asia setup, it's literally what ICT does. You know your initial buy side and you know your initial sell side prior to 7 p.m. And then you just wait for one side to get taken out and look for the opposing liquidity. Now, for this example here, you can see that price was fairly bullish. So we took out this low and then we started to see bullish price action pushing higher. Civvies getting filled, BISCs being left open. This is a pretty sizable balance, excuse me, pretty sizable breakaway gap, um, closing above the new day opening gap. So once we started to exhaust here, you see a nice little retracement after taking out some buy side liquidity here, trading down into this uh, fair value gap here. From there, that would have been a setup to take, and you would take that and you would target, your new day opening gap up here. Nice 40 points in Asia. Who's mad at that? Not me. So that would have been a decent trade to take. Um, I'm going to be paper trading today, Asia, and tomorrow's AM session. So if you guys are watching this, I would advise putting this on like 1.5x speed, just to get through it because it'll just be a lot of me waiting, watching, sitting, and just viewing price action as it's playing out. So I don't want you guys to be bored or anything like that. Um, but as prices playing out here, I'm going to try to be consistent with uploading and keeping you guys updated on the Top Step account. Um, After I recorded the video earlier today, uh, it kind of made sense for me to continue doing videos like that, showing the transparency and the realness behind what it is to have a funded account. Um, because a lot of people on YouTube, social media in general, only show the good. They only show the profit. Some do show the trials and tribulations and what it actually takes to be funded, losses, break evens, everything like that. So shout out to those guys. Um, but it's always good to hear a new voice, someone who's been trading for a number of years, uh, going on 5, 6 years around there. Um, it's a new voice, new perspective, um, and I'm growing. So I rather make a video like this, view it later on down the line, and use it, as a lesson, even to just say, hey, I was here at one point. I know I can get out of it. So it's always good to, record and that sort of thing. Keep logs, data logs on myself as I'm evolving, day in, day out, year in, year out. So yeah. Um, yeah, so I don't want to ramble on too much, but looking at price here, um, what can happen is you have some inefficiencies. All right, so we traded up into this inefficiency here. We have this wick constant coin encroachment right at the top of this new day opening gap. So, and then we have some, highs up here. This is a high and then a failure swing. Um, yeah, this is all yesterday's. It's like yesterday. This is all earlier today action. But yeah, I mean, literally just gotta wait. Asia is like watching paint dry. So if you want to build your patience and you want to learn how to sit on your hands, watch Asia session. Definitely. Um, yeah, I mean, this is a 2 minute chart as well, but same thing, like 2 minute, 1 minute, whatever it is, it's the same, mindset, ideology. Um, but yeah, if we break below here, first target would be this fair value gap here, and then the new day opening gap in this big gap here. Um, Literally just looking at price, who's been making money in Asia so far since the open? I'd say buyers, people who have been buying. Um, we opened up here and then it, traded off a little bit. And then right as 7 p.m. opened, we just started rallying and pushing, pumping. Um, then we just took out some relative equal highs here and then slowly teetering off. I would have rather liked to see if price can show speed and displacement um, to let me know that there was, some liquidity above here. Like right now, it's not really showing that displacement. It's more so playing around this level. So as price plays out, I want to see if we can get a close below these two up candles that took out the liquidity and call this my bearish order block, take the trade there and look for, sell side, keeping in mind, opposing premium and discount arrays like these as potential areas to, take profit at. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a waiting game at this point. I'll just mark charts up a little bit to put some lipstick on the pig, you know. This is my buy side. And then ideally, I would want to see if we can get a shift. I think for that. Ultimately, turning this into a breaker would be what I want to see. Um, but yeah, price is failing to get to the consequent encroachment of the new day opening gap. So to me, that's a sign of weakness. That's a sign of bearishness. Price failing to get to premium levels. And then we should see a retracement, if not a retracement, and trade lower to the sell side underneath this low and have us close bearish underneath this low. I don't want to see, a wick underneath this low and then, speed outside of that. I would want to see price stay heavy underneath this low and then either catch a fair value gap setup or the breaker or the order block, one of the three, to take lower to, our next level of liquidity being this low. Because if I was bullish, if I was, in the trade, and let's say I took my position here, I bought here, boom, price leaves and explodes, my stop loss is going to be below this low. Um, so that's what I'm waiting for. Looks like we're going to see some displacement here. Hopefully, we start to see a little bit more speed as price develops. It's only 8:22, so can't, just waiting. That's the thing about Asia. You have to wait. Alrighty, so now with the pinball drill active, once we get a close, I want to see a close below that low. Go to a 1 minute. Um, I would look at this as my breakaway gap and look at this as the fair value gap. So once that gets created, I'll look to take an entry right around here. So I'll just place this sell limit here for now. Once that fair value gap gets created, then we'll take the trade. Stops will be, looks like it's going to run. So I'll just place this right here. Stop loss will be above the consequent encroachment of this breakaway gap. I wouldn't want price to trade above that. It's like 12 seconds until that fair value gap gets created. I'm not going to place the like a box showing that this is a fair value gap. I mean, we know, what it is. So there we go. Fair value gap gets created there. Looks like we're going to get tapped in. And my stop will go down here. There we go. Did we get tapped in? There we go. We're in. So yeah, stop loss. We'll place that above the breakaway gap here, giving price room to run into this. But yeah, that's the trade there. Like I said, now this is looking at it on the 2 minute, seeing, the full close underneath this low lets me know that we're pretty, this should be pretty heavy to trade for gaps. So we have this gap here that we can tap into. We have this sizable VISI right here that we could tap into. And then we have this order block down in here as well. So we can look for those arrays right there. This is my volume balance right here. That's a 2 minute volume balance. And this is a breakaway gap. So I want to see if price can trade short. I don't want to see price tap or trade up into the upper 50% of this fair value gap. So just put this here for shits and giggles. Wouldn't want to see price trade up into this upper 50%. Seeing price displace lower is pretty good. Here we go. If we can turn this inverse, that'll be good. Flip that. That'll be nice. There you go. Nice gap there. So now I'll just turn this into an inverse fair value gap. Even though it's a volume imbalance, I'll just note it as an inverse fair value gap just for the sake of I don't want to see price find support here. It should be used as resistance. So now, because we're pretty decent with price, I'll go ahead and put my stops to break even a little bit underneath it. There you go. Stops at break even here. The only reason why I did that was to secure the trade, make sure that its risk is off. Excuse me. If I can, I can't. Can I do this? Why can't I just want to use one. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll just go to a 2 minute and figure out the low here, right there. So full trade is from here 25 points. In Asia, that's not bad. So I'll go ahead and take that if that were to be given to me. We have a fair value gap here. So using the pinball drill, if we get a run up into that, I'll go short again. But again, this fair value gap here can be used as a breakaway gap, given the fact that we're underneath this volume imbalance here. So we'll see how that plays out. And then stop loss will go here at the rejection block down here. So see how price moves. Just go back up to a 2-minute real quick. There you go. You have a 2-minute fair value gap right here. So I would want to see if this gets treated as a breakaway gap. Go to 1 minute. Looks like we may get filled. Stopped out, actually. We'll just have to keep that in mind. I like doing these drills because it, win, lose, or draw, it allows me to be in the mindset of taking a trade, being in a trade, and regulating my emotions as, the chart moves. Um, because if you guys watched the video I did earlier, my emotions were out of check. Like my execution wasn't the best on the trade that I took, and um, the way I was acting around the trade wasn't proper. I don't think it was good to act the way I did um, in the trade. So that's why I'm doing this pinball drill, just to get the emotions out. I did take a break. So ICT said in the video, coming back to the charts after a break, allow yourself to do a pinball drill just to get things back in order, get things back in check, to take on the responsibility of having trades running, seeing open profit being dwindled or being gained in your account. So that's what I'm doing here. So if we look over here on the 2-minute, we have this wick over here, and then we have this fair value gap, or if you want to look at it as a 2-minute gap here. Again, we also have the breaker here as well. So if we get stopped out, then I'll look for another trade inside of the breaker and take that long. I mean, short, take that short. But at the moment now, we're just watching price, see how price moves. Totally calm, not worrying about whether I win, whether I lose, just managing the trade um, and going from there. Okay, if we get a deep stab underneath this low here, actually, no. If we get below this low, I'll take one off and I'll manage it like that. So we'll buy one underneath here. And then this is me being totally aware right now. In my mind, I just said, okay, if I take one off here, then I wouldn't see, a lot of profit. But why don't I just hold it? So I literally just had that thought come to my mind right now of, hey, this is only, such and such points. What if I, held it to the consequent encroachment? What if I just held it to full TP? So those thoughts literally just came into my mind right now, and I'm being aware of those thoughts coming across my mind as I'm in the trade. So to handle that, I'll ask myself, you know what? What would be the best thing to do in this case? Would it be to take a partial, take one contract off, or would it be to fully hold the position? So what I'll do and what I think would make the most sense is to take one partial off. So I'll take one contract. If we get below this low here, I'll close one contract as a partial, and then move stops accordingly. to what makes sense. But since we haven't ran below that low, we will hold. I want to see if this volume imbalance holds. This will be my deciding factor on whether I stay in the trade or not. Because if we close above it, then it's going to be used as support. Why would it be used as support? We traded down under it, get a wick, close at and around it, push back up, form a swing high, come back down, fail to take out this swing low here. If we come back up above this high and we close above this high, that means that we'll generate this or create a bullish order block to then continue to seek higher prices, given the fact that on your 2-minute, you have this fair value gap here. So if price is failing to trade down into a fair value gap and showing signs of bullishness, then, we're most likely going to leave this open and continue to push higher. At the moment, that's what price is looking like at the moment. Now, can it just be a retracement going from, this high to this low, retracing back up into a premium? Yeah, 100%. It could definitely be that. Premium being up in here around the breaker. It can be that. And again, like I said, this is just a volatility pinball drill. This is not me actually taking an execution. I'm just here to get my emotions in check, see what it feels to understand what it feels like to put a trade on, put some size on, and handle the trade the way I should handle it. So it looks like we're gonna get stopped out, no problem. With this being a 2-minute, I'll look to go short. I would have went short here at this fair value gap here. Here, I'll go short right now. See, that's me playing around, going short. So I just went short right here inside of this fair value gap on the 2-minute. And that's right around the breaker. So that's my 2-minute fair value gap. So if you look at the executions, took one there. But it looks like we're just going to get stopped out, which is no problem. That's price action. That's trading, right? So it is what it is. And this may be the thing that I need to feel to understand, like, hey, trading is risky. Trading is being on your A game. Trading is not a game. This is real. This is real deal. There's winners and losers. Do you want to be a winner or do you want to be a loser? So that's what it is. So here came up into the new day opening gap and consequent encroachment of the breaker. And we see a nice wick here. So that, to me, lets me know that we may still be on side as we start to see price develop a little bit here. You can see my executions here. 21,228. This one was a little low. 21,222, and then this one here at 21,228. So around that 21,228 mark, should have got in at the 2-minute fair value gap, since that was the time frame that I was looking at originally. But once I seen this one here, got in there. But yeah, I still believe this can go lower. So just waiting and seeing how price reacts around that. It's 8:37. So a lot of waiting, a lot of seeing what price will do. See what a 5 minute looks like. Yeah, you see, we're playing around this 5 minute order block here as well. And then the 5 minute fair value gap. And if you want to get, fancy with it, or if you have an approach, you can use your Fibonacci. And I need to look at this as well and notice that all of my entries were underneath the 50% of the range here. So my dealing range is when price sweeps out buy side and sweeps out sell side. So this is my dealing range from this high to this low. Inside of the dealing range, where are your PD raised? You have an inverse fair value gap here. You have an order block here. If you want to use just this one candle, then you have the breaker, and you have your fair value gap. So you have the fair value gap 1 and you have fair value gap 2. And then you have an order block here as well. Now, being bearish, you should be selling in a premium. And the best premium to sell at would have been this fair value gap here. So literally, pretty much the tip of the high that gets made here stops above, significant levels, whether it be above this high up here, the high that gets taken out, or where the bodies are, and then looking for either the 50% or a full deviation, and I'm just going from there. But yeah, we'll go ahead and move this there. Put this above the breaker. So now my trade is a little bit looking, excuse me. My trade now is looking a little bit more to the tune of a 1, 2, looks like 4. Whoops. Looks like a 1 to 4. And it looks like price is unwilling to trade higher at the moment. A 1 to 3.5. Looking at ES, similar situation, fair value gap here. Entry right at the fair value gap, looking for relative equals there. And then lower YM, similar situation. So yeah, I mean, we're just waiting, watching price. Win, lose, or draw. We shall wait and see what happens. Another thing that I'm noticing is like I'm just, here chilling on my phone, like as price is playing out. I probably wouldn't be doing that in the AM session because price is so volatile and it moves, 50 points in 2 minutes. But because Asia is Asia, it's pretty slow moving. Um, you know, we can take some time to look at the phone. But with 4 contracts on, this is a lot of leverage. But because it is Asia, our stop loss is only of 12 points, 12.5 points. So, given that, what I'll do is take a partial at a 1 to 1, 21, 214. I don't know how to do that. What I'll do is this 21, 214. Trade buy limit. There you go. Okay. So I'll take a partial here. I'll take half off. Take half off there. And then where is it? Does it even show? It doesn't even show. But yeah, I'll take half off there and then move stops to break even, let the rest run. But at the moment, it's just playing around. It's not looking the best. staying below in the lower 50% of the breaker and the lower 50% of the 2 minute fair value gap. So it's just a matter of waiting, watching price, seeing how it develops. If I don't see anything by 9:10, which is the macro from 8:50 to 9:10, 8:50 to 9:10 is my macro, where some volatility should be seen. I don't see anything by, happening in and around this time here. Then, I'll just close out wherever it's at, do what needs to be done. But yeah, we'll just wait until then. Bodies respecting the, looks like the 25% level of the 2 minute fair value gap, not even getting close to midpoint of the breaker. So yeah, here goes to a 1 minute. And I had an old video going over bullish and bearish signatures. And it's as simple as bearish signatures are, filling in BISIs, leaving open SIBIs, creating bearish order blocks, things like that, showing speed and displacement to sell side. For example, we created this range here. As we're retracing up higher and we have, some significant levels, does price look like it wants to run for buy side liquidity? No. If it wanted to, we should have seen speed and displacement after tapping this order block here and seeing us go off to the races, seeking this high up here. But we failed to see that. So that lets me know that, okay, we're a little bearish. We're more bearish than bullish in this case. And price may be wanting to continue seeking sell side liquidity. So as we can see here, as we tap this order block, we should have seen speed and displacement to this high, but because we haven't, because we failed, and price is respecting 2 minute fair value gap, we start to see price roll over and we see that speed and displacement lower. There you go. Price tapping into this fair value gap here. This is the 2 minute breakaway gap. And we get a tick close to our limit order. So what I'll do is just move my stop loss down, just removing risk at this point because I did see my displacement here. As long as price trades and operates below this volume imbalance here, you can do whatever. There you go. That's your partial. And now we'll wait to see if we can come back down into this new day opening gap. So now that we locked in some profit, we can move stops down to break even. Currently running 18 points. Tap the consequent encroachment. So because of that, I'll take another one off. There you go. We're just locking in profit at this point. And then we're just going to move our stop to above this fair value gap here. So above the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap here. Hold on. This is where we're moving our stop above. So you guys see the consequent encroachment right there. Stops are above that because if price were to trade up into this, I want to see price respect the upper 50%. So just locking in partials, locking in profit. We can see here on this volume imbalance, price respecting the consequent encroachment right there nicely. But yeah, as we can see here, this is 845, 846. So this was a 2 minute candle. It's pretty sizable wick, I'd assume. I don't know, bigger time frame. Yeah. So it came down into, funny enough, the order block on the 2 minute to the tick. Let's look at the open of this candle, 21,206. The low of this candle is 21,206. The low of this candle is 21,206. That is precision. That is perfection. Um, but yeah, I mean, we do, you know, the low uh, does get a little go out of the, parameters a little bit, but this, you can see here, this order block line, 21,206.25. Your low is 21,206. Your low is 21,206. Your close on this candle is 21,206.25. And your open on this candle is 21,206.25. Doesn't get any perfect than that. But from here, with the macro coming up in the next 2 minutes, I'd want to see if we can continue the trade lower. So now that I'm on the 2 minute and I'm looking at this, if I can get and hold price above, there you go, consequent encroachment such, I'm fine. So that's pretty much the business there. That's the trade. Go to account history and we see here, we could look, this right here is the trade 20. Yeah. So disregard the $3,300 win. These are the two partials that I took. So one for looks like 0.5%, and the other one for a little under 0.5%. So adding that up, just using whole numbers, 500 plus 400 is $900. So yeah, pretty much a little under 1% on this 100K account, this paper account. Not bad, not bad. I'm glad I went through the little bit of drawdown and the little bit of seeing price, trade and work around certain levels. Um, it's good. It's good to see that. It's good to get different views on price in that aspect. So happy for that. But yeah, uh, I do want to end here, but the macro is coming up, so I'll just allow it to do what it's going to do in the macro. This is probably going to be a pretty long video. But yeah, let's see what it does. Macros open up in about 2 seconds. Let's see. Here's your macro. Now in macros, let me go to my notes real quick. In macros, 10.50 for 11.10. There will be a run on 2 liquidity or inefficiency. The most sensitive area for value gap and bullish is the low and the midpoint. Yeah, so pretty much price is going to either run to liquidity or inefficiency. Now looking here, liquidity is underneath this low and underneath this low. Inefficiency is above us here. You also have some inefficiencies down in here. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. So inefficiency here. This is a 1 minute, so on a 2 minute. Yeah, you got this up here, and then you got these down here. But we took our partials, did what needed to be done. Oh, it's a beautiful partial right there. Yeah. I'll give it another, 5-10 minutes, and whatever happens, happens. We'll see what it does. If price fails to trade up into this gap up here, that shows heaviness. Oh, there we go. We traded up into it. Let's see if we get stopped out. Oh man, I'm tired. Oh, there we go. We get stopped out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trade. Stopped out in profit there. Nice. That's the business pretty much. That's it right there. Um, but yeah, that's Asia trade. So what I'll do is go to the 2 minute because that's where I should have executed majority of the trades. I'll go ahead and do this here. Zoom this in a little bit. I'll note this as not an issue. Buy side liquidity. Zoom this out a little bit. Oops. There you go. Just like that. This arrow here, I had a execution on here that I completely forgot about. So don't mind that blue, this blue one here. Don't mind that. That's from earlier today. Totally forgot I had a position on. Glad it was on paper though, but nonetheless. Yeah, so this is the setup here. Let me go ahead and put this as initial, sell side. Boom. That's it. So if you've stayed the whole entirety of the Asian session here, you would have seen back when we took out the buy side liquidity over here, me seeing the failure of tapping into this consequent encroachment of the new day opening gap and us creating this breaker here and taking the trade at the breaker and the fair value gap there on the 1 minute and the 2 minute. And then, catching a little bit of size there. Average price was like, I'd say like 21,227 around there and catching 20 points, going based off of one of these partials, the 21,206. And so like 14 to 20 points in Asia session. It's not bad. I mean, that's, it does what it needs to do. Ended up making 5, 4, 9, 42 plus call it 20 is 60. So about 950 to 970 bucks. My math may be off. I'm tired. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll upload this now. Um, and yeah, I'll do another pinball session tomorrow in the AM. It's Friday. I don't need to trade. I made a little under 2% on the live account. So keep it nice and easy. Keep it green for the week on that account. Come back here on this paper trading account and, go ahead and do my thing in the pinball volatility drill for tomorrow. And then Monday, I don't trade. Tuesday, we'll come back and we'll be on the live account. So, excuse me. That is it. Go ahead and log this for my Discord here. This is Asia, Jan 2, 224, 225. Shit, that's gonna happen a lot. What's today? Thursday. Asia. There you go. Boom. Locked in. That's it. So I'll go ahead and catch you guys tomorrow. So, see you.